Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Vincent and I'm a first year pharmacy student living in Nigeria and studying at the University of Ibadan. I make videos about education and lifestyle. So if you're new to my channel, kindly hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification button so that you can get notified when I release new videos, and also don't forget to like. In this video, I'll be talking about the 10 most important chemistry topics to study for your Jamb. And these topics, they're always repeated every year. Some of this topic you get as many as 2 or 3 questions from each of these topic. This video is made especially for those people that will not be able to cover the Jamb syllabus, since you know that we have less than a month to Jamb, and this 1 month may not be enough for you to cover your Jamb syllabus. So in case you're unable to cover the Jamb syllabus, these 10 topics, they are very important and I will advise you to at least cover them. But if you can cover the whole syllabus, if you know that you can cover the whole syllabus, it is better and more advisable for you to study the whole topics. But these 10 are the 10 topics that I feel are very important and they are repeated every year in Jamb. So if this looks like something you're interested in, let's go straight into the video. So the first topic on the list is organic chemistry, and I know that this is the most important topic to every chemistry student in Jamb. Every year organic chemistry will not just be set, but sometimes you even get up to 10 or 8 questions from just organic chemistry. And organic chemistry is very broad and a lot of science students, they kind of hate it, but it's very simple actually. So that's the most important topic in chemistry and you need to know it. If you don't know organic chemistry, I will advise you, go and learn it, go and read on it, or try to get someone to teach you organic chemistry. It's very important because the least question you are going to be seeing from organic chemistry is going to be 5. And the things you need to know in organic chemistry, you need to know structure of organic compounds, naming of compounds. You need to know the functional groups, also homologous series. Then you need to know the chemical properties, the physical properties, the characteristics of each of those functional group, the alkanes, the alkynes, then alkanos, alkanoic acid, ethers, a lot of things. Then you also study about carbohydrates, protein, then also polymers, where we have natural polymers and synthetic polymers. All these things that are very important in Jamb. So I will advise you, if you have not studied and if you have not read organic chemistry, please go and read it. It is very important. So those are the things you need to do, and it is divided into 2 parts: organic chemistry 1 and organic chemistry 2, because it is just very broad. So it's not something you can read in a day. So if you have less than a month to prepare and you have not covered your Jamb syllabus, the first topic I will advise you to read is organic chemistry. It is very important to chemistry students. You don't just get 1 or 2 questions there. Every year you get at least 5 questions. In my own Jamb, I think I got around 8 questions from organic chemistry, and I am lucky I got everything correctly. So it's very important to know it. If you have not read organic chemistry and you're reading that topic, I consider it a waste of time, unless you have plans to read organic chemistry later. But if you have insufficient time, make sure you know organic chemistry. Even if you don't know that other topics in chemistry, make sure you know organic chemistry, and that is why I'm emphasizing on it, because it is very important to know organic chemistry. So make sure you study all the compounds, the structure, the naming, all those functional groups. You study them one by one. You know their uses, you know their characteristics, the physical characteristics, the chemical characteristics of those functional groups. So that's what you need to do, and you can study it using textbooks like New School Chemistry or Lamblad Chemistry. They are also good for studying organic chemistry. And another topic you should read if you have not covered your Jamb syllabus is oxidation and reduction, also called redox reaction, and this deals with the various chemical reactions that we have and how they are being oxidized and reduced. It is a very important topic to learn if you have not covered your Jamb syllabus, and it is simple to understand. If you want to read it, you can just use this chemistry to read. It is very simple to understand, and the most important things you need to know there are the definition for oxidation and definition for reduction. We have various definitions for oxidation and reduction. We have in terms of oxygen, we have in terms of hydrogen, in terms of electron transfer or acceptance of electron, in terms of oxidation number. So you should know the various definitions for oxidation and reduction. That's the first thing that Jamb will test you on, the definitions for oxidation and reduction. Then you need to know how to recognize the oxidizing agent and the reducing agent. That's also very important. You need to understand how to identify them. So they may just give you a chemical equation, and they will ask you to identify the oxidizing agent and reducing agent. So you need to also learn how to identify oxidizing and reducing agent. It is very important. Then another thing you need to know is how to calculate oxidation number of a particular element. So they can give you an element, they can give you a compound and just ask you to calculate the oxidation number of a particular element from that compound. So it is also important to know that. Then the definition for oxidizing agent and reducing agent, you need to know the definition also for oxidizing and reducing agents. And also you need to know how to test for oxidizing agents and how to test for reducing agents. There are various ways to test for oxidizing agents, and there are also various ways to test for reducing agents. All these things you can learn them from your new school chemistry. New school chemistry is absolutely the best chemistry textbook you can possibly use to study for your Jamb chemistry and also lab chemistry. Then another thing they will test you on is balancing of redox reaction. So you may just give a redox reaction and they ask you to balance it. So it's very important that you also go and learn all these things. So oxidation and reduction is the second most important topic I feel that you should read and study if you have not completed your Jamb syllabus. Please make sure you study it. It is very important. At least you get one question or two questions from it every year. There is no year that Jamb will not set oxidation and reduction. They always set it every year. So it is important, and I advise you to read it if you have not read it before. Then another topic I will advise you to read is electrochemistry. From the name electrochemistry, it has to do with the study of electricity in relation to chemical compounds, where we have electrochemical cell and electrolytic cell. So this also I will advise you to use new school chemistry and lab chemistry also for it. Then the things you need to know, you need to understand the meaning of electrolysis, you need to understand the meaning of electrode, cathode, anode. You need to understand the various chemical reactions that occur at the cathode and the ones that occur at the anode. You need to know the meaning of electrolytes. You need to understand the meaning of electrolytic cell, and you must understand ionic theory. So those are the most basic things you need to understand about electrolysis. And also must understand the ionic theory and the various conditions that needs to occur before a body can conduct electricity as an electrolyte. And also you need to be able to differentiate between electrolytes and non-electrolytes. So electrolytes, they are basically compounds that conduct electricity in the molten state or solution, while non-electrolytes, they do not conduct electricity in the molten state or solution. So you need to know all these things. And also you need to know about preferential discharge of electron, because there's a reaction that occurs at the cathode and there's a reaction that occurs at the anode. So during electrolysis, there's a reaction at the cathode and anode, like I said earlier. So there's a preferential discharge of electrode. I need to understand the factors that affect this preferential discharge of of elements at the electrode. So you need to understand this also. Then calculations. Yes, calculation is very important. In electrolysis, there are a lot of calculation questions, and in fact this calculation question, it is the most important part of electrolysis. And how do you solve these calculation questions? You can solve them using lambda. I don't think no school has a lot of calculation questions, but you can solve calculation questions on electrolysis and lambda. Lambda is very good for calculation questions, and also you can solve them using your Jamb remix past questions. So make sure you understand the calculation aspect of electrolysis. Then also talk about things like standard electrode potential and also applications of electrolysis. Also it is very important, things like electroplating, extraction of metals and others. They are very important. So generally electrolysis is one of the most important topic you need to read in Jamb. If you have not read it, I will advise you to read it. It is the third most important topic to read. If you have not read it, please go and read it. It is very important. You can, like I said earlier, you can use new school physics or lambda physics. In fact, all the chemistry tests, all the chemistry topics you are going to be treating, new school chemistry and lambda, they are okay and enough to study. Then use them with Jamb past questions. Then the fourth most important topic I feel you should read is acid, base and salts. I think we all have a basic understanding of this as a science student. We all understand the meaning of acid, we understand the meaning of base, we understand the meaning of salt. So the things you are expected to know in these topics is the definition of acid. We have various definitions for acid. We have the Arrhenius definition of acid, we have the Bronsted and Lowry definition of acid, and we have the Lewis definition of acid. So you're expected to know all these three definitions of acid. You're expected to know them and understand them. Then also you are expected to know the types of acid we have. We have natural acid, we have organic acid. Then also you are expected to know the basicity of an acid, what it means. You're expected to differentiate between a weak acid and a strong acid. So that's another thing you need to know, how to differentiate between a weak acid and a strong acid, and you must know each of those examples, because in Jamb they will just give a question like which of the following is a weak acid or which of the following is a strong acid, and you need to be able to identify the weak acid from the strong acid. So that's another thing you need to know, the differences between a weak acid and a strong acid. And also you should understand the difference between a dilute acid and a concentrated acid. Those are the things you need to know about acid. Then also you need to understand the physical properties of acid. Acid has some physical properties like it turns blue little paper to red and other characteristics. So you need to understand and memorize all these physical characteristics of acid. And also it has chemical properties. Acid has chemical properties like reactions with carbonates, reaction with metals, and neutralization reactions. All these things you need to understand them and have an in-depth understanding of how this thing works. So go and study about all these things. Then there are also calculations involving pH. Yes, you need to understand the meaning of pH, power of hydrogen ion concentration. You need to understand the meaning, how to identify the pH of a acidic solution, neutral solution, alkaline solution. You need to understand them. Also the calculations involving pH, like I said earlier, any calculation in chemistry, I will advise you to use lambda chemistry. Lambda chemistry is very okay for calculation. That's what I used during my time. I use lambda chemistry for calculations, while I use new school for the theory aspects. And also you can use Jamb past questions. So there are a lot of calculations under pH where they are going to give you a particular concentration of a particular acid, and they will ask us, and then we ask you to calculate the pH of that particular acid. They also give a base and the concentration of the base, and they ask you to calculate the pH or the pOH of the base. And you must understand the pH of an acid, what is it, the pH of a neutral solution, what is it, the pH of an alkaline solution, what is it. Then you should understand the various means of preparing acid. We have a lot of means of preparing acid, so you should understand the various means of preparing acid. Then neutralization reactions, you should have a basic understanding of it, the meaning of base, strong base, weak base. So generally acid base and salt, generally you should have a very deep understanding of it if you want to score in Jamb. So it is one of those topics that Jamb will always set. And also salt, you should understand the meaning of salt, and you should understand the various types of salt. We have normal salt, we have double salt, and others. So you should understand all these. They are very important. Then also you should understand drying agent. Also it is part of acid base and salt. Drying agents, efflorescence, all those things you should just understand it. So it is very important to know and understand acid base and salt. It is one of those topics that is usually repeated in Jamb. So if you have not read acid base and salt, I will advise you to go and read it, because this is just one month to Jamb. You need to cover those 10 topics at least. If you can cover more than these 10 topics, it will be very very okay, but at least you should be able to cover these 10 topics. Then the next topic I would like to recommend you to read is rate of chemical reaction. And this topic is my favorite topic in chemistry. It is my best topic in chemistry because I just love it. It is very simple to understand. You don't need anybody to tell you or teach you before you understand this topic. It just deals with how fast a chemical reaction occurs and the factors that affect the rate of a chemical reaction. So that's just what it is about. It talks about how fast a chemical reactions occur. Okay, so another topic I will advise you to study is energy changes in chemical reaction. That's where you study the heat changes in chemical reactions, where we have endothermic reactions and exothermic reactions. So it's also important to study that also. So number 6 on the list is kinetic theory of matter and gas law, and this is just the basic gas law you have done in SS1. Boyle's law, Charles law, Gay-Lussac law, Graham's law of diffusion, and all that. So it is very important. In fact, you should know this thing. If you don't know any other topic in chemistry, even if you don't know organic chemistry, I believe you should know gas law, because it is very simple to understand. So it is very very simple. So that is another topic you should understand very well. Then number 7 is stoichiometry. Stoichiometry has to do with the various chemical reactions that occur and how the mass of one or the mole affects the volume of reactant. So just like equating the mass, volume, mole, all those things, molar ratio, molar concentration, and all that. That's what stoichiometry is all about. Please try to understand stoichiometry also. It is very important. And another topic is electronic configuration. You know that this is strange because you feel like it is simple, right? As simple as it is, Jamb usually asks questions from this topic. Electronic configuration, it is very important. This is just the configuration of the atom, where we have the definitions for atomic number, mass number, all those simple things. How to name a compound, how to name a compound, how to name elements, how to just all those simple basic stuff. That's all you need. The definition for relative atomic mass and a lot of all those things. Then also chemical bonding. Chemical bonding is also important. This is just how the various elements bond with one another. Examples are covalent bond, electrovalent bond, or ionic bond. Then hydrogen bond. Also van der Waals force of attraction. There are many, so you should understand all these topics, especially electronic configuration and chemical bonding. You should understand this topic very well because Jamb repeats like 2 questions from this topic every year. They mostly ask for isotopes also. They ask for isotopes. Atoms with the same atomic number but different mass number. They ask for it. So all these basic topics in your SS1 textbook, electronic configuration, all these relative atomic mass, on isotopes, all these basic topics, they are very important. Then also chemical bonding. So that's another topic I feel like you should study a lot. Then number 9 on the list is chemical equilibrium. This okay, another topic to study is chemical equilibrium. Chemical equilibrium is very important. If you're a chemistry student, please try to study chemical equilibrium. It is very important. And from the word equilibrium means balance. So chemical equilibrium is just like studying how balancing of chemical reaction occurs. I'm not talking about balancing of chemical equation, like chemical reaction. Sometimes if you alter some conditions, the forward reaction may be favored, while sometimes the backward reaction may be favored. So there are various factors that affect the equilibrium of a particular chemical reaction, and that is what we are studying in chemical equilibrium. And those factors, they are concentration, temperature, and pressure. Catalysis does not affect equilibrium position of a particular chemical reaction. So you are studying how does temperature affect the equilibrium of a chemical reaction, how does pressure affect the equilibrium position of a chemical reaction, how does concentration affect the equilibrium position of a particular chemical reaction. Then another thing you should know under this topic is how to calculate equilibrium constant. It is also very important. How do you calculate equilibrium constant? You need to know it. In fact, Jamb set a lot of questions from equilibrium constant. We just give you a particular chemical reaction and they will now ask you calculate the equilibrium constant of this particular chemical reaction. It is important you know how to calculate equilibrium constant. Then also calculations involving chemical equilibrium. And also I forgot to say this also, you must understand the meaning of enthalpy, entropy, and Gibbs free energy. So you need to understand them. That's under its changes in chemical reaction. Enthalpy, entropy, and Gibbs free change in energy. So these 3 factors, these 3 terms are also important. So you should just study more on generally rate of chemical reaction, its changes in chemical reaction, and chemical equilibrium. So those 3 topics are like almost the same thing. So make sure you study them. And those 3 are my favorite topic in chemistry. They are very simple to understand. So if you are studying chemistry, make sure you study those 3 topics that are very simple to understand. Then the last topic on my list. So the next topic on my list and the last topic is, so I have 2 topics actually, but I will join them together. Air and air pollution. So air and air pollution is like another topic that is very simple to read. And Jamb set a lot of questions this year. So what you just need to know is know the basic component of air. What are the constituents of air? Then know the characteristics of air as a mixture. Know the various properties of air. Then also you should understand rusting, corrosion, and all those things. Then air pollution, what are the things that cause air pollution, how to control air pollution, the effects of air pollution, and things like that. So that's what you need to know about air and air pollution. It is a very simple topic to understand. You can read it in your new school chemistry or in your lamlad chemistry also. It is very important to read. And also you should know the properties of the various constituents of air, like oxygen. What are the properties of air? What are the characteristics of oxygen in the air? Then we have nitrogen in the air also. What are the properties of nitrogen? What are the characteristics of nitrogen? So you should understand these characteristics for each of those topics. Then another topic is water solution and solubility. Now from the title, it's very simple to read also. Water solution and solubility. So this is just talking about the general characteristics and properties of water, like the physical properties of water, the chemical properties of water. Also, it is talking about water, how to purify water, also the various stages in purification of water. It is also important to know this. Then the various types of water we have hard water, we have salt water, and we have different types of hard water. We have temporary hard water and we have permanent hardness of water. So all these things you need to know them. How to remove temporary hardness of water, how to remove permanent hardness of water. Then also on the various reactions that occur inside it, the various reactions that causes hardness of water and a lot of other stuff. Then also water pollution. You need to also understand water pollution. What are the effects of water pollution? What are the things that cause water pollution? And also you need to understand the differences between solution, colloid and suspension. You need to understand the differences between solution, colloid and suspension. Then understand the meaning of solvents and solutes. Then also in Jamb there are some common solvents and their solutes, so you should go and memorize it. They usually ask a lot in Jamb. This topic is also common in Jamb. Then we have calculation questions under solubility. It is also important to know this because Jamb set a lot of calculation questions from solubility also, so it is important to know it. Then let me add one more topic, that is halogen and its compound. So halogen generally they are group 7 elements like chlorine, bromine, fluorine, iodine and astatine. So halogen and its family, or some textbook we call it chlorine and its compound, they just deal with the general characteristics, properties, the reactions of group 7 elements and how they react and relate with other elements. So I've come to the end of this video. I feel like this is at the top 10. I think it has even exceeded 10, but these are the top topics. If you can cover these topics, you have a high chance of scoring more than 70% in Jamb. So make sure you cover these topics very well. But if you can cover more than this, I will advise you, it is totally advisable to cover your Jamb syllabus from beginning to the end. But if you are just starting now, it might be a little bit difficult or impossible, and I will not advise you to start rushing. So I will advise you to calm down and read these 10 topics, or if you can read more than that, it will be beneficial. Don't forget to like this video, share this video to your friend, and also subscribe to this channel so that you can get notified and you will know when I release new videos. So see you next time. Bye.